I have here for you all opponents of modern hi-fi, especially Devialet Phantom, which I often put here from the bottom of my heart, and that I have been enthusiastic about them for a long time, and I want to clarify a few myths that are also made by reviewers and gentlemen in the comments in various hi-fi groups who claim that they have heard Devialet Phantom, and their result and assessment is that Devialet have an average overbass sound and that it is just an overpriced party box. I have been listening to it for years and someone has to tell the truth. Devialet Phantom are speakers that need specific settings to sound good and clear. They will not play well at the exhibition, and will definitely play below average. I agree with that because unfortunately Devialet rarely has its own headset where he would present them, and for some reason they often play music where there is mainly bass to have that wow effect, which is a mistake. But what I want to get to is that even if you compare the Phantoms with some other passive speakers for a similar price in a very well acoustically treated room, there is a chance that the Devialet will sound worse. So the best comparison is in the same room and under the same conditions, because the Devialet Phantom works with space completely differently than traditional hi-fi, where some high-quality stereo will play amazingly. The Phantoms can be overdriven and the sound less expressive because the Phantoms need completely different requirements for sound quality, and these are a smaller room, bass adjustment for the given room. Not having the listening point close to the wall because the bass will accumulate extremely there, and it won't be that. You need to sit as much as possible in the space and paradoxically closer to the speakers. Of course, the speakers should also be further from the walls, and the most important thing is suitable acoustics because I also heard the Phantoms at the exhibition. I played my own song there, which is very well known among audiophiles, which I like, and although they were loud, there was little information and it lacked subtlety. Then I heard them in a hi-fi store where the acoustics were better and more peaceful, and in the same song I suddenly heard much more detail and different sounds in the background. But then I played the same song at home on my older Phantoms and again it was a step for the better, and they sounded better than the new Ultimates from the exhibition and even had a better sound image, dynamics and distribution of instruments and vocals in space, and also more information and even more faithful subjects than similarly expensive classic passive reproductions that I had previously tested. I have already discussed this topic with several reviewers and hi-fi players, and we came to the conclusion that Devialet is not liked by classical manufacturers because their products like Phantoms offer such a quality that is sometimes comparable to classic hi-fi, and at the same time one does not need anything to do with Phantoms, and they cannot be improved infinitely, which is a problem for manufacturers because with such a trend, in the future there would be a risk that they would not have anything to sell because classical hi-fi players love to constantly improve their setup, and that is what they enjoy about it, of course, besides the quality sound. And if people find out that instead of a setup for 10,000 euros where they need cables, streamers, OSIC, and of course speakers, they can have something like Phantoms for 6,000 euros that sound similar, or a problem for manufacturers because people will no longer upgrade their setup every now and then, but will buy it once and be happy with it for a very long time. And that's why manufacturers try to discredit Devialet, and reviewers tend to write reviews like, "It's super powerful, it has amazing bass." But there's always that they don't compare to classic speakers. Few reviewers will say that this is the future of hi-fi and that they will surpass various hi-fi setups for two reasons. That it goes against their belief that hi-fi must include quality cables, an amplifier, and quality passive speakers. And secondly, it's often because, as I mentioned, they are set up like the other passive speakers they test, and that's a mistake because Phantoms require different settings to sound good. I've been in the hi-fi world for almost 20 years. It's my first hobby I've ever acquired in my life, and it's my passion. I don't want to tell anyone what to buy. Everyone has a different preferences, whether it's sound design or the overall philosophy of hi-fi audio. But try to think about what I wrote because I firmly believe that for me, my Devialet Phantom are my dream speakers and they always make me happy, and every time I sit in my chair and turn them on, I'm always amazed by the sound of my Phantoms, so that's all. Thanks for watching.